Now then, earlier in the week, you may recall, we were talking about living the vintage life as a growing number of people falling in love with the bygone era and choosing to dress up in homage to it. But while the 1950s is clearly achingly trendy right now, for Jonathan Holmes, it's all about an earlier time. He's only 24, but he loves his chosen vintage so much he goes to themed dances in London, collects old music and dresses the part. And yes, that includes the cravat we were talking about this week as well, and a whole raft of other dapper clothes.
So, the first step is the black and white shoes. They go down really well with a lot of people, actually. I found a pair in size 13 somehow. So, black and white shoes to start. Black dress trousers, a white shirt, waistcoat with pocket watch and chain, jacket, and of course, either a bow tie, cravat, or a smart tie to wear.
Really? And this is all part of your passion for the era, what, the 1920s or 1930s?
Correct, yes, both. I love the music of the 20s and the 30s. It's my absolute passion outside of work. And ever since I started dancing to this and going to big social events with other vintage nuts such as myself, I just suddenly really thought, well, hang on a second, I should probably start making an effort and dressing up. And it's interesting. I get a lot of nice words from people in the street, interesting glances from people. I've had American tourists come up to me and say how natty I looked, which I thought was quite impressive.
Marvellous, what a word.
It's quite odd to think that they were visiting the UK and I could well have been the first British person they would have seen.
Representing the UK.
Ticking every stereotype.
Here's Jonathan Holmes. And when you're wearing, all that gear, how does it make you feel, though?
I think you carry yourself differently. Hearing the music and dancing to the music while dressed like that, it brings another stage to it. So, people that enjoy this kind of music, they have a certain yearning to, try and get as close to the experience of dancing and living in the periods that they want to follow. And I think when you wear the clothes and when you dance to the music, it's such a wonderful feeling. You've got a smile stapled to your face you don't want for anything, and it's sheer euphoria really to be dressed like that and to be dancing and having fun just as people would have done 80, 90 years ago.
You're very young, though, to be honest. I think most people who get into that vintage lifestyle seem to be older than you. What do your peers think?
A lot of people, I'm well known for it, let's put it that way. People know my hobbies and they think it's quite interesting. Whenever I tell people what I do, people of my age, they find it quite cool. I guess it's kind of gone so far that I have no memory of the 20s, my parents don't have any memories of the 20s and 30s, and so it's now so far gone that to be rediscovering this at my age is suddenly quite hip and quite trendy again. So when you tell people, they go, oh, that's really interesting, I didn't know about that. And, when I'm wearing cravats and when I'm dressing up and whatnot, because of how young I am, I think I stand out a bit more, and people just seem to appreciate it more for that.
I think you're probably right. And you also collect the 78 records as well, don't you?
Correct, yes. I've got about 400 of those at home. Dance music of the 20s and 30s, British bands especially. Everything that I'm looking for has already been released. It's already sat in someone's attic or someone's shed. And that, for me, and the music is what got me into this in the first place. And for me, it's quite cool to pick up a record that might have been barely played and think, someone walked into a shop in 1927, bought this record, they listened to it a bit, it's been sat in their cupboard, it's survived the Second World War, and now it's found its way into my hands. And you can play it, and all of a sudden it's like you're transported back into that era just by hearing the music and the words, coming out of the record.
So have you got a wind-up gramophone then? Have you got one of those, his master's voice?
Yes, well, I've got a Columbia gramophone, not a HMV, different make, but mine's a picnic gramophone. So it's a small box with a handle, and you put some records in the top half, and there's a little winding screw at the front, so you wind it up, place the needle in, and the sound travels down the tone arm and out through the horn inside. And I took it to an event recently. I did a vintage event, and I was booked to play some records. And all these kids and even adults came to me and said, "Oh, where's it plugged in? Where's the music coming from?" And it was such a novel feeling for them to hear this music being reproduced without any electricity at all. It's very warm sound. It's very interesting.
I'll be cheeky now. Does this do wonders for your love life as well?
Let's just say it's a topic of conversation.
It's a great inline, isn't it? I mean, you almost don't have to say a thing because it all shouts in front of you before you open your mouth.
Well, actually, it's one of those things. For instance, recently I had to move house, and for a lot of these places, you go to and they ask you, what are you into, what do you like doing, and you tell them this, and all of a sudden everyone sits up and they go, oh, that's interesting. And I guess for when I tell people, if they don't think, gosh, what a weirdo, they probably think, oh, that's actually quite interesting.
Isn't it? I think it's wonderful. Do you want to see what Jonathan looks like then in his full garb? Have a look on our Facebook page at the moment. Glorious, frankly. At age 24, he's mad about the 20s and 30s, collects the music, dresses up, complete with cravat, and goes to themed dances around the place, which just looks like the way to have fun. Have a look on our Facebook page.